Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Where the Heck Are the Albans? And where the heck are the Albans? Well, we are going to be a little bit of everywhere today. We are going to take you on the John Hughes Filming Location tour. Now, we're not going to go to every single place. Like, we won't do the downtown stuff like Wrigleyville or Wrigley Field and Sears Tower and things like that. But we're going to go more through the burbs of where he shot all of his films, like 16 Candles and Ferris Bueller and The Breakfast Club and all those good ones. So what do I want to say?
So come on, let's go. Let's go.
That's what I want to say. Come on, let's go. Okay, so one of our stops here on the John Hughes tour is from the movie 16 Candles, one of Emerson's favorites. This would be Sam's house, right there. And right by that tree there is, that tree actually got moved. That's not the original tree. The tree used to sit right here by the corner. And that's where Long was passed out on the ground. Yes, that is Sam's house. One thing I do want to mention as we're going along this tour, don't forget, be very respectful of people's houses and property. Don't forget, these characters don't actually live there. They're just films, but these are actual people's homes, and those people live there. And so, please respect their houses. Don't go knocking on their doors and things like that. So, and taking things off the property. That's a big no-no. But one thing that I will do that rarely anybody else does is if you are interested in seeing some of these places, I will give you the addresses to everything that we're seeing today. So Sam's house is 3022 Payne Street, P-A-Y-N-E Street, and that is in Evanston, Illinois. On to the next. Okay, the next stop on the tour is the church from 16 Candles. This is the church right here. It's Glencoe Union Church. And I will walk across the street here, looking both ways. All right. So at the time of filming, this middle bar was not here. This handrail. It was just the staircase. But and here is where Molly Ringwald, Sam, would have stood in the doorway and looked across, and right there is where Jake would have be standing in front of his Porsche. And you can actually line up that shot too with Jake by the trees in the background. No, those trees right here and there. And right here is the spot where he parked his Porsche. So let me get you the address. I get back in the car. And there we are right there. Okay, so the address to the church from 16 Candles is 263 Park Avenue. 263 Park Avenue. Next spot. Okay, this right here is Jake's house from 16 Candles. Jake, I know Jake. Jake's my boy. So this is Jake's house. And right there is where they pulled out the Rolls Royce from the garage. That is Jake's house right there. All right.
Oh my God.
So the address is 1407
Waverly Road.
In Highland Park. Okay, this place right here is at 1411 Sycamore Lane, and that's in Northbrook. This was the nerd's house. John Cusack being one of those nerds. This is where Farmer Ted pulls his Rolls Royce right up into this driveway and asks them to take a picture. So if you've seen the movies Dennis the Menace, starring Walter Matthau as Mr. Wilson, this house right here, the white one, is Dennis the Menace's house. And if we go right next door to the blue house, oh, Mr. Wilson! That's Mr. Wilson's house. And that is where Walter Matthau lived. Is Mr. Wilson. Sorry, I was in the middle of the road. I had to pull over. Someone was behind me. So, but that is the filming locations for Dennis the Menace. That was Dennis's house and Mr. Wilson's house. On to the next place. And I just remembered I didn't give you the addresses. Dennis the Menace's house. This is a one-way street, and so the numbers go down. So Dennis's house is 1624 Ashland Avenue, and that is in Evanston. And right next door is Mr. Wilson's house, which is 1618 Ashland Avenue. All right, now on to the next spot. Okay, I apologize for the sun. If the sun is setting a glare on the camera at all, the sun is so bright today, but it is a gorgeous, gorgeous, glorious day in Chicago. It is January, what's the date today? The 28th or the
27th?
27th. January 27th, and it is like 54 degrees outside. So that's why I'm not even wearing a coat today. But so it is just gorgeous today. But lots of sunshine, so I hope it isn't a big glare on the screen. But next place on the John Hughes tour, and there's got some traffic on this street, so I'm going to wait till they go by. There we go. And it is this house right here. And you might recognize this house from the movie Uncle Buck. This is Uncle Buck's house. Well, at least the house that he was sitting the kids. And the address to this place is 16... No, it's not.
2602.
It is 2602 Lincoln Street in Evanston, Illinois. So there it is, Uncle Buck's. The next place we're going to is in a town called Kenilworth. And I just want to tell you a little bit about Kenilworth. Kenilworth is where the very wealthy live. Just about every home in Kenilworth has a maid and butlers, things like that. And I'll tell you a quick little funny story. When I was doing HVAC, heating and air, I went to a house in Kenilworth once, and I went to the door and I rang the doorbell, and a maid answered the door. A lady answered the door, and she asked, what I could do for her, and I said I'm here for the heating and air conditioning. And the owner of the house, the lady of the house, came around the corner, and she walked right up to the door, and she said, "The help uses the side door," and she slammed the door in my face.
I just told that story to one of my friends the other day.
Did you?
Yeah.
But I was like, did she just call me the help? So, but yeah, so that's the kind of people.
Some of the people.
Well, some of the people. I'm not going to say everybody in Kenilworth is like that, but that was my experience in Kenilworth. So, if you're from Kenilworth, don't be a jerk. So, on to the next place. We're going to Kenilworth. Okay, as we come down this road, there's a house directly in front of us. And this is Neil Page's house, played by Steve Martin. This is the house in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Here it is right there. And the address here is 230 Oxford Road in Kenilworth, Illinois. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles house. Okay, next place on the tour is this church right here. And this is the church from the movie Home Alone. And it is called Trinity United Methodist Church. So when Kevin goes to church in the movie, this is the church that he goes to. Okay, and here is a shot of another shot of the church from Home Alone. And this is where he meets the old man who ends up being his savior.
Spoiler alert, people might not have seen it.
Oh yeah, we don't want to spoil alert Home Alone. There it is. Let me give you the address here in just a second while I get off the road. And the address to this place, to the church, is 1024 Lake Avenue, and that's in Winnetka, Illinois. Winnetka, Illinois. And that was the Home Alone church. On to the next spot. Okay, this next house actually needs no introduction. Once you see it, you'll pretty much know what it is. The address is, what is it, Becky?
671 Lincoln Avenue in Winnetka.
671 Lincoln Avenue in Winnetka. And this is a great place to come at Christmas time because it is the Home Alone house. And there it is. And now in the movie, you can see where they've actually replaced, or they put grass down. It used to have the circle drive that went in front because the delivery people and everybody would drive up and they would hit the little man there and the ping, the horse jockey guy. So, but yes, here it is, Home Alone. Okay, and from the movie Weird Science, this is Deb's house. And this is at 1150 Linden Avenue. And that is in Highland Park. So Deb's house. Okay, and at 1200 Linden Avenue, this is Gary's house. This is where Gary lived, in Weird Science. So I would take you to the other house. It was Gary and Wyatt. I take you to Wyatt's house, but Wyatt's house has been torn down. Okay, so if you see this, we're at Northbrook Mall right now. This place, the part that says Northbrook Court, this is where the Porsche pulls up in Weird Science. So at Northbrook Court Mall, it's right by the Neiman Marcus, and you can come see where they filmed the indoor shots of the mall for Weird Science. So of course inside this mall is where they also shot the interiors for the mall, where Robert Downey Jr. pours the Slurpee on the guys. That is all inside this mall at Northbrook Mall. And the address to the mall is 1515.
No, yeah.
Yeah, 1515
Lake Cook Road.
Lake Cook Road. And we are in Northbrook, Illinois. Okay, the next place we're actually going to stop for lunch. This is the pizza place where Ed Rooney is trying to find Ferris Bueller, and he mistakes a female girl for Ferris Bueller, and she takes the straw and blows soda pop right in his face. So we're going to go inside there and we're going to have some lunch, and then I'll show you the outside of that. And then I'll also show you right across the street, kind of kitty corner to the place, and that's where Ferris Moms works, at the realtor's office. So let's go on in. So this building right here at 538 Chestnut is where Ferris Bueller's mom worked. And it turns out the place that was the pizza place has been torn down. And it was across the street. And it is now a parking lot. And if you remember Ed Rooney, Principal Ed Rooney from Ferris Bueller, as he flips his glasses up and the music plays, dun 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 dun. These are the buildings that are right behind him in the background. And this is in the same strip as the little, as the place that Ferris Moms works, and that is right there on the corner. Okay, so the next place is just, there really isn't an address. You just type in Glencoe Beach, and it'll take you right to the parking lot. And let's go see what happened here. Okay, I hope you guys can hear me because the wind is really hard up here. They were at Glencoe Beach, and I'll turn the camera around here.
Great beach.
And yeah, it's a nice little beach. You know, you got Lake Michigan out here. But what I want you guys to see is this line right here, because that is where Cameron's head is in the scene in Ferris Bueller where he goes catatonic. And this is the bench right here that Ferris sits on and actually talks a little bit about it. While Sloan sits right here
Right here?
Right here. Sloan sits here, and Cameron lays right here. And I'll back up so you can see Vivi in that shot. And there is the shot right there.
Haircut?
So the famous shot from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, right there, filmed. All right. Oh yeah, she got a new haircut. Vivi got a new haircut, and she got her hair colored.
Yeah.
Look at this. It looks good in the sun. Got nice blonde highlights. Very nice. All right, back to the car. Okay, another house that doesn't need any kind of introduction. However, it looks like the house itself is under construction. This is Cameron's house from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and that is the garage, if you can see it right back in there. Let me try to zoom in a little bit more. That is the garage right there where the Ferrari went flying out and landed down there in the little bank down there.
The brush.
In the brush. So,
arriving at 370 Beach Street on the left.
So there's the garage right there, and this is the house, and the house is under construction. The house was sold not too long ago, but it looks like they're doing a major rehab on it. And right there where it says Case is where he sat in his car, and he's like, okay, I'll go. He'll keep bugging me and bugging me. So there it is, Cameron's house. And the address there?
370 Beach Street.
370 Beach Street, and that in Highland Park. So there's actually no parking where I wanted to actually show you down this street. But you would be looking at it this way. And for many years after the filming of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, that water tower right there used to say, "Save Ferris." That is the Save Ferris water tower. And the best place to see the Save Ferris water tower is right by the library. And it is at 1201 Cedar Lane in Northbrook, Illinois. Okay, and here we are at Glenbrook North High School, and this is where Principal Rooney and Sloan came out, and they waited for Sloan's dad to come. But they stood right there in this corner, and we'll come up here and we will get a shot of where the Ferrari was. So they stood here, and the Ferrari is right there. Well, I wish that was the Ferrari. Oh, Sloan dear, come along now. So the address of the high school is appropriately 2300 Shermer Road. Sorry about the sun, it is so bright, but this is the road that they go speeding down as they go away from the high school. They would speed down this road in the Ferrari. Just as a little side note, of course there is no such town as Shermer, Illinois. and that's where the majority of all of John Hughes' films took place. So why do you ask, or why would you ask, why Shermer, Illinois? Why would you make up a name like Shermer, Illinois? Well, just about every town that we went through has a common thread, and that is a road. And that road goes through just about every single town that we were in. And that road is Shermer Road. And there is where the name Shermer, Illinois came from. And there's a road sign for it right there. That is Shermer Road. And that is where he got the name for Shermer, Illinois. Okay, you might notice that I am wearing a different shirt. I'm in a different car, all alone. I'm actually in my car today. We normally take Becky's SUV, but I'm in my car today. The reason for this is I couldn't get one of these last places because we ran out of daylight. It was dark. So my work just happens to be right near here, and I do work on the road, so I'm constantly traveling all over the place. But it just so happens, just out of luck, I'm here today. So this place used to be Maine North High School in Des Plaines, Illinois. And it is no longer a high school. They closed the high school down, and it is now the headquarters for the state police of Illinois. And also, just a little tidbit, if you happen to win the lottery in Illinois and you're in the Chicagoland area, this is where you go to get your checks and turn in your ticket and all that good stuff. So this was the location for the Breakfast Club. And a little funny information on this is that the actual library in Maine North was too small. So they built that entire library scene in the gymnasium. And then, so everything that you see was actually took place in the gym. They had a couple different gyms inside the school. So one was used for the library scene, which is the majority of the movie. And then when they actually do use a gymnasium, they just used another one of the gymnasiums there. So I will give you the address shortly. And I will let you know what the address is. I don't actually have it on me. Number one rule here. It is now the state police headquarters. They don't like their building being photographed. They don't like their building being videotaped, really. So if you are going to visit, you're just going to have to kind of do a drive-by. But I'm right now in the parking lot of some apartment buildings, and you'll actually see these in the final scene when Molly Ringwald gives him her earring. In the background, you will see these buildings. So keep an eye out for those. I will take a quick spin through and go right by the entrance where they all go in the school and they all come out of the school. And I will also show you where the football field was, because the football field is no more. A lot of websites, there's been a lot of controversy on this. A lot of websites say that it was the football field at Maine West High School in Des Plaines. It was not. It was filmed at this location. There are now townhouses where the football field used to stand, and I will show you those as we drive by those as well. So here it is. I'm going to show you the entrance to the Breakfast Club, to the school. Here it is. Okay, here's the building right here. This is the stairwell right here where all the kids go into school. And that is it. And Bender almost got hit by the car right here. That is it. The Breakfast Club. Okay, as you pull out of the parking lot right there where I just went through, this is where the football field used to be. Right there next to the school. And now there are townhomes here. And I can't go in there. It says no, not enter except state police vehicle. So we will not be going in there. Here, I can go down here. Right on the other side of this mound is where the football stadium used to stand. So there was the back of the school, and the football stadium sat right here. All right. Excuse the dirty windows. Maybe Becky can roll down her windows. This is actually John Hughes's old house. So the house that he lived in when he passed away.
Arriving at 855 East Westminster on the right.
But this is, this would have been his driveway right here. And this is where John Hughes lived.
Wow.
That's a pretty house, very pretty house.
This is where you hold up.
That's, yeah.
No, I think it's still the same house.
This is still the same house. Yep. So.
When he permitted himself too. So.
Yep. So John Hughes' home, right here, and the address here is 855 East Westminster Avenue in Lake Forest. Okay, so we are going into Lake Forest Cemetery. And since we are doing the John Hughes tour, we might as well do the pay our respects to Mr. John Hughes. So, wow, that sun is bright. So, right here, as soon as you come into the cemetery, his grave is right there, and we'll get out and we'll pay our respects.
Deer's over there.
Emerson just noticed, and
Not
Vivian.
Emerson, Vivian.
Oh, Vivian noticed. Look
Yeah.
at, there is a deer
There's a couple.
over here.
They're moving.
See?
They're live deers.
See if it'll focus in on it. That is an actual deer. Right here in the cemetery. But yeah, so here is the grave of Mr. John Hughes. John Wilden Hughes Jr., 1950 to 2009. Husband,
Father, grandfather.
father, grandfather.
Did his wife not die yet?
Nope.
Nope.
Wife is alive.
So very modest grave for one of the best, film directors. So if you do want to find it, like I said, there's the entrance, and you just make a quick, the very first left hand that you take, and it's pretty much right here. And a good landmark is this deer right here. So thank you, Mr. Hughes, for all the great movies. We really appreciate it. You were pretty much the voice of a generation. Okay, so as you can tell, this was an edited video, and we discussed as how we wanted to edit this. Did we want to show you in the order that we went to these places, or did we want to show you it by movie? So we ultimately said, let's do it by movie. But of course, if you take all those addresses that we gave you and then kind of go on Google Maps or something like that, or MapQuest, you can see that we did them in bunches. So like we did all of Evanston first, and then we did all of Winnetka, and then we did Northbrook, and so forth. So that's not how we actually drove the route, as what you actually saw. But I hope you did enjoy it. Like I said, it wasn't all of the locations. We didn't go downtown Chicago, so I didn't show you places like Wrigley Field and such. But if you like what you saw, please give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe down below. Really hope you did enjoy this. So we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.